Hello, everybody, and welcome into SIN's Blitzer Recap. I'm your host. I can't do it. All right,
You gotta
maybe
learn how to
just
do it.
edit this part out.
You
You're smiling before we
you
smile.
you
I
have
know I
to
couldn't help it. All right,
in the words
golly,
of my in the words of my friend Billy Martin, you have to learn to put the game
I
face
can't
on.
help it. I'm a smiling dude.
It would be, listen, children, okay, we're gonna bring us
Listen,
in here to
children, okay?
we're gonna bring us in
How
here
would
to
you like it if I took a dookie on your mom's forehead, okay? That is not funny.
okay.
All right, that is my Mr. Mackey impression.
You kind of did there. You kind of did there. It was not bad.
Yeah,
You
it's
did a little
not
better,
terrible.
okay.
I'm
You did a
not a
little
great
better,
at
okay.
impersonations, but welcome into SIN's Blitzer Recap Sunday. I am Mike Rifkin, joined by Lawrence Patchman Lang and Danny Boy Reginald Dan Rines. Gentlemen, we're going to recap three specific games that occurred this afternoon as we
Well,
record
well,
on Sunday, September 25th of 2022.
Well, it just happens to be the teams we root for and we cover here on the Sports Insanity Network for Blitzers. So I got Buffalo and Green Bay. We're going to get to Miami and Buffalo and Tampa Bay and Green Bay. Danny Boy has to vent about the New York Jets against the Bengals. And Rifkin, you get to celebrate because Miami's 3-0 probably for the first time since the 70s.
It's been a long time. But as Patch said, we'll start with that game, Miami and Buffalo. The Dolphins hold on by the skin of their teeth to beat the Buffalo Bills 21-19 in what was a fabulous game. Josh Allen, 400 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 47 yards rushing. Devin Singletary had a receiving touchdown. Tua, 186 yards and a touchdown. Chase Edmonds, 2 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, 4 catches, 102 yards. Okay, I'm going to get this out of the way. So the people of Buffalo and their fan base cannot hate me as much as they probably already do. I know a ton of Bills fans. I get it, Bills fans, that your entire secondary was hurt. I get it. You had injuries and cramps on the offensive line and throughout the defense. I totally understand it. But this game comes down to one play and one play only. And the only person you have to blame is your quarterback. Because at the end of the first half, Josh Allen, instead of spiking the football and attempting a last-second field goal, attempts a fake spike in honor of Dan Marino and gets a screen pass to Stephon Diggs, who winds up being short. But they don't have enough time to run another play. That is why the Bills lost this game. That's it. And if you're not going to give credit to the Dolphins, that's fine. I don't care. But that's the play that lost you the football game. That play there, guys.
I would say, that play attributed or contributed to, the loss, but also, the last play of the game where, I think it was Davis where he tried to get extra yards, should have just went down and given them an extra shot. Would have gotten a few extra seconds to, get maybe 2 seconds left up to try probably a potential 62-yard game winner. At least you had a shot of kicking a field goal. Instead, you try to stretch out 5 extra yards and that waste 3 extra seconds on the clock, where if you went down maybe 2 or 3 yards prior, you could have, had a potential to spike the ball, have 1 second left, and had a potential game winner on your hands. But, I didn't see most of the game due to being at work, but I was trying to watch on my phone secretively while working. It's hard to do that sometimes when you're, trying to watch 8 machines and people check out. So there's that going for you. But going for a fake spike where, get the 3 points on the board, get those extra 3 points on the board when you can, because, plays like that can cost you in the end, and it cost you the game basically. Granted, both teams didn't play a good game. Buffalo, great opening 10-play drive for a touchdown, then get the ball back, they fumble, they get a touchdown, and then they proceed to punt, fumble it. I'm not fake spike it, nothing pays off. Field goal, missed field goal, turn it over on downs, and then to end the game. The Bills just didn't play a good football game today. And Miami played a slightly better football game. They had their safety to end the game with them holding the football, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But overall, it is on the Bills this week that they lost this game, where they couldn't get it done or get the plays done to get themselves points, or just mismanagement of holding the football, whether it was running it too much or even throwing it too much. They just didn't play a solid game today, and it cost them.
The playmakers that had to come through didn't come through. Bottom line. Josh Allen didn't have a great game. He did his best. Again, the Dolphins are a good team, so you got to tip your cap to them. But, Josh Allen didn't have a good game. The Bills' offense, even though they got a couple touchdowns in them, didn't really have a good game. And it wasn't a very smart game either. Scheme-wise and everything, like it just was all over the place. And in the end, the Dolphins, they took advantage of it. Really.
And Josh Allen, I think Rifkin alluded to earlier, he threw the ball 63 times in today's game.
That's absurd.
Granted, 400 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, that's still pretty good. You had 42 completed, so you just under 80% completed. But sacked 4 times for a loss of 18, and then just mismanagement of the football.
It wasn't a good game by Josh Allen. Yes, the
He
numbers,
fumbles.
the numbers may say, okay, he had this many yards, high number of yards, this many touchdowns, but got sacked a few times. Aaron throws, Aaron plays. It was all over the place. It was not
He
good.
caught a couple of breaks because he threw a couple of balls like could have and should have been picked off.
Yeah.
They weren't. So it's not that he wasn't what he's been the first 2 weeks. He was still pretty good. He's still Josh Allen. And I think for the first time in a long time, the Dolphin defense deserves a little bit of credit here because they got in his face a little bit. He didn't have all day to throw the football.
Yep.
They were aggressive. They blitzed a lot. They used the safeties. They used whoever as extras up front. And they were not afraid to pressure Josh Allen because they knew the Bills weren't going to run the ball down their throats. I mean, Tua gets knocked out. He comes back in.
Yeah, and then that was scary too because it looked like, unfortunately he tried to flop and he almost basically gave himself a concussion that it looked like initially because you saw his helmet just bounce off the turf and come back up, and it was like, well, this game might just get blown out now by the Buffalo Bills, but it wasn't as severe for Tua.
Yeah.
So we're happy that Tua's healthy too.
Yeah.
Because that was just scary in the beginning. I saw it on my lunch and it was like, whoa.
Well, for the one thing, he came up and was trying to act like he's okay, trying to act like a tough guy and stuff, but woozy, wobbly
legs, and then you almost,
that's your cue to test yourself for concussions or any type of head injury. And thankfully he was cleared after a while. Probably got dinged up and needed a half time to chill out a little bit. But
the PA will look into this, they've said.
Yeah. Now, after that, he seemed to have a pretty solid half. It wasn't too bad for Tua. But I do want to give the Bills defense credit.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Even though they were without their great big time secondary, at
Yeah.
least they were able to hold the Dolphins to 21 points, which is, for a Dolphins team that can score 40 on you, that's actually very good.
Shows you why they're number one defense in the league.
Yeah. And they rushed Tua a little bit. Tua got, like you said, like we see him get dinged up. We talked about it before. So there was pressure on him too. So overall, good game by the Bills defense. I think the biggest letdown, which was their strong suit, was the offense.
Yeah, these two teams will play again. Give me 1 second. December 18th in Buffalo, which is not a great time to play the Bills, mainly because in Buffalo it'll be cold. Trust me, I know. Trust Dan too, he also knows. But the Dolphins moved to 3-0. They will play on a short week. They play the Bengals on Thursday night. The Bills will travel to Baltimore to play the Ravens in what could be a really fun game. All right. The other two games we will talk about. Let's start with one that ended a little while ago, and that was the Green Bay Packers patch holding off Tom Brady and the Bucs by a score of 14-12. Aaron Rodgers, 255 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And an INT, but
and a pick. Romeo Dobbs had one of the receiving touchdowns. So did Alan Lazard. Tom Brady, 271 and a touchdown. That went to Russell Gage, 12 catches, 87 and a touchdown for him. This was not what we thought. Brady versus we're not used to this being Brady versus Rodgers, 14-12. This was a defensive showdown.
It was a defensive showdown, It was exciting to watch because it shows you that this Green Bay defense can step up when it matters, when you're going against the greatest of all time in our generation, in Tom Brady. And they were pressuring Brady, shutting down the run game. He only gave up 34 yards for the run game, which was astounding because the Packers' run game, when they're trying to stop the run game, they usually give up like 120 yards, and I'm usually yelling at clouds outside my room or outside my house, for lack of a better term, because I'm aggravated because the Packers can do so much better when trying to stop the run game. But the Packers actually, it was a hard-fought battle. Run game was a little lackluster here and there. Only 67 yards total rushing between Jones, Dillon, and even Rodgers tried to run in. He lost a yard, but that's all right. But, it's a nice statement win because the Packers stepped up when it mattered. After the touchdown, after Tom Brady goes down, they go for 2. And then, they get the delay of game call that should have probably happened the play before the touchdown, when the touchdown occurred. And then they stopped it. They stopped the 2-point conversion from happening. And then all you got to do is recover the onside kick. And then my love for the Packers recovering the onside kick is also a little torn because of past experiences. But I was happy to see Lazard just jump up, grab the ball, pull it down, go down. Was happy because my heart was pounding during that onside kick. But, it's tough because, we thought this would be a high scoring affair where it would probably be like 30-35 or could even been in the 40s or even the mid 20s. But no, a nice solid football game of, 14-12. I'll take the win. It was a nice win because, it shows that we can beat Tampa Bay in the regular season. And hopefully if we see them again in the playoffs, we can redeem ourselves in the playoffs and beat them. But as for now, this is the last time we'll probably see also Rodgers and Brady go at it. But very, very happy to have this win and be 2-1 after 3 weeks.
Yeah. And look, I don't know if part of this is the fact that Brady was missing so many guys offensively. No Julio Jones, no Mike Evans, no Godwin, et cetera, et cetera. So he was working with Russell Gage, Brashad Perriman, guys like that. It's not something to write home about, but the Packer defense played really well.
Yeah,
You know, they got pressure up on Tom Brady. You're right. They stopped the run.
They forced 4 fumbles and recovered 2.
They played deep. They played really well defensively, which is something they're going to have to do if they're going to make a run, because again, they have an unproven receiving core, which, by the way, that's a big. Romeo Dobbs had a big game, 8 for 73 and a touchdown.
I was very happy the way Romeo Dobbs stepped up because, once again, he's a rookie. He, it's your big moment to be with one of the best in the league right now. And if you can prove it, you're going to get the ball more. And he did step up big time in today's game.
Yeah, so he played well. As a team, this is a great win for the Packers on the road. They really needed this one. Really, 2 back-to-back bounce backs after getting thrashed by the Vikings to open the season.
Agreed. It just shows you that, we might have one first week woes, but we'll bounce back. Don't worry.
Yeah, so that's something to look at. For next week, the Packers will play the New England Patriots, which, by the way, that looks like it may be without Mac Jones after what happened.
Yeah.
Today.
Looks like potentially an ankle injury.
Yeah. The Bucs will play on Sunday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh. Get my popcorn ready.
That's a Super Bowl rematch.
Super Bowl rematch. I'll get my popcorn ready. Be ready to go for that one.
Yeah, so those are the 2. That's where those 2 teams go. And then we have a third game we have to break down.
Yes, as we wait for our VP in command, Danny Boy Reginald, returned from his quick break.
Yeah, we have the Bengals picking up their first win of the year, defeating the hapless and pathetic New York Jets by a score of 27-12.
Yeah, it was not a good day for the Jets. In the words of Rob Schneider in The Waterboy, oh no, we suck again.
From the words of me, Joe Burrow, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd had over 100 receiving yards and a touchdown for the Jets. Joe Flacco, 28 of 52, 285, and 2 picks.
It was just not a good day for the New York Jets.
It was not.
Only I granted you got 285 yards receiving yards, but you only had 76 yards rushing between, Hall only getting 8 carries for 39, Carter getting 11 carries for 39 yards, and then Barrios only getting 1 carry for a loss of 2.
But again, if you're trailing by so much, you can't have that effect running the football. You need to open things up. And look, I'm not going to complain about the Jets offense because you knew what you were getting into with Joe Flacco. Last week was an admiration.
I don't want to say this, but last week was a fluke.
It was, because if Cleveland is a real team, they jump on the onside kick, and that never happens.
You don't let the foot. You can, once the ball's kicked, just dive for the football, because you can get it off the bounce. You're on the football. Game's over, and then you stop the comeback. And unfortunately, we can have probably an hour-long conversation with Cleveland Browns on how terrible they are, and on the field and in front offices, but we won't get into that today. But like the Jets, it's just proving that, the Jets, unfortunately, are kind of, without Zach Wilson, it's kind of like, all right, we can go with Flacco and, have today's game, or better yet, let's just test Mike White. And I'm waiting for that because, we got a little taste of Mike White last season and it wasn't that bad. Yes, Mike White is, a bounce arounder, but once again, just test the waters. You can do something, but you most likely are not going to do something in this situation until your, QB1 returns. Why not just go with the third string? Because we saw New England when Brady was suspended a couple years ago for Deflategate. We got Jimmy G for a while. Jimmy G got hurt, and then we got Brissett. And even though the Patriots lost with Brissett, Brissett still looked good when he played that game, being in as the third string.
The other thing I'll say is, Robert Saleh, you said a couple of weeks ago, you talked about keeping receipts. You talked about that, Robert. You're a defensive coordinator who is so good. The Bengals have given up the most sacks in the NFL the first 2 weeks. Your defense had 2. That's it.
Just
that's inexcusable to me. Okay, Cincinnati had 69 yards rushing, nothing, but you got beat by their big boys at times. Chase had a touchdown. Higgins had made some big plays. Boyd had over 100 yards at a touchdown. Chase had a touchdown. Perine had a big play on a third down that was a touchdown. I mean, Cincinnati was 7 of 14 on third downs. That can't happen. That cannot happen. Everything else was kind of even for the most part.
Yeah.
Penalty yardage isn't, 4 for 55 and 4 turnovers. You're not going to win with 4 turnovers. You're not going to win that way. Young team, veteran team, turnovers and penalties are the reasons why teams win and lose games. And again, it's a reason that hurt the New York Jets. That we could say whatever we want about Flacco or whatever. It's right there in front of you. You could have won this game, but instead you kicked 4 field goals. That can't happen.
I mean, we've seen it with teams that, I'm not saying that, teams are better than them, but for like what term, teams are better than them. If they're 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, they're going for it. They're taking the risk because either 1, they're going to try to draw them off sides, or 2, they're going to punch you up the middle, or they're going to throw a short slant route pass and get the first down. The team. It seems more this year recently we've been seeing teams go for it on 4th down when they're inside 4 or inside 5. They're going for it. They're taking risks.
Yeah, and
it's for like a term, the Jets are just playing conservative football. They're just getting the points instead of taking risks. Take the risk. Okay, it didn't pay off this time. Go for it again next time. Amplify your team to get the 4th down conversion. Don't have them turn it over.
You got to find ways here. Utilize your playmakers. You just got to find your way. And
their sister team inside the stadium, the New York Giants, first week, Dable had cojones and went for it with a 2-point conversion. They went for it. They didn't take the tie. They wanted the win. You play to win the game. You don't play conservative football.
Yeah, it's a problem. They have a problem, but at some point the excuses have to stop, and you have to make plays yourself, and they didn't.
Agreed.
The Jets are, again, I expected a loss today because I knew this would be a get-right game for Cincinnati. And Cincinnati took the get-right game and slammed the Jets. And rightfully so. Now, what I've seen from them, they're going to get Zach Wilson back next week. I said that Joe Flacco should be the starter until he can prove he's no longer the starter. And today was the day where he proved he was no longer the starter, which means you either go Mike White if Zach Wilson isn't fully prepared, or you go to Zach Wilson. And To me, I think personally they should go to Mike White, give him another chance, give Zach Wilson a week to like prepare himself for NFL play on top of resting his knee and stuff, making sure that's 100% as well. But that's not what they're going to do. They're going to start him, and we're just going to have to deal with it. And overall, like, it's time. If we have to see what Zach Wilson is eventually. So it's about that time. See what he can do, and I'm excited for it. As far as this game goes, the Jet defense stunk. Cincinnati had all day. Running game had all day. Passing game had all day. Cincinnati defense was lethal. Like the Jets couldn't protect Flacco for shit. Excuse my language. They couldn't protect him for anybody. So that sucked. And then the receiving game was okay, but again, because the O-line didn't do anything to help protect, it was almost impossible to get into any rhythm. So credit to the Bengals for taking advantage of the fact that the Jets are a terrible team. And it's a get right game they absolutely needed. So I'm happy for the Bengals that they are now 1-2. They can, brush off the 0-2 start, and hopefully they can get back into the swing of things. Hopefully it's not a fluke. That would stink if it was a fluke for the Bengals and stuff. So
They also want revenge for losing to them last year.
yeah, but it's not true revenge because Mike White didn't play. So
It's true.
that I don't count it. Play against Mike White, win against Mike White, then you can talk about revenge and stuff. Playing with the Joe Flacco the statue is not going to impress me much.
No.
Bottom line. So
Dan, what about the defense? They only got 2 sacks on Burrow after.
Well, like I said, defense stunk. They couldn't get to Burrow at all. And there were times where they actually had chances to sack him or at least stop him from, doing anything fantastic. And they couldn't do it. Missed tackles. When they had chances to get the ball back, they couldn't. When they did get the ball back, there was a couple of times where the Bengals did turn it over and the Jets got the ball back, but that didn't capitalize on anything. So the defense did okay there. I like the play of Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner played very well on Jamar Chase, which was a refreshing sight to see. Quinn Williams had another outstanding game on the line. CJ Mosley was involved too. Overall, the young guys are the ones that are really getting involved. It's the vets that are pissing me off. Penalties, the mistakes on both sides of the ball. It blows my mind how we're praising the young ones for getting the job done, but when it comes to the veterans, the players that have been here, for a long time in this league, that know the league, that know what it takes, that they claim to know what it takes to win, and they're not doing the best at looking good and being a mentor for the young ones. I was very upset with Whitehead today. We signed him. We gave him a lot of money to come in here to help beef up this Jet secondary, and he blows plays, missed interceptions, missed tackles. So that sucked too. Overall, it was not a good day for the Jets. Not a good day at all.
By the way, that was a theme throughout the day, guys. We have to stop with the hitting in football and learn to wrap up tackle again. like that's where I'm at. Like, these guys are going for these hard hits, and the receivers are running next or standing upright. Just tackle them, wrap them up, and tackle them.
Yeah.
Are you keeping receipts like Robert Saleh, Dan?
Yeah, I'm keeping receipts on Saleh.
I thought it was for tax purposes.
I'm keeping receipts on Saleh. And I better get a tax return on that. Hell yeah. For the crap that I put into that team, getting me. I want all my tax back.
You want all your money back from all the
Please.
years of suffering.
Yeah.
Oh, then we'd be rich with the Knicks.
Oh my! Oh,
No.
we have enough money to buy the Knicks and run them
Oh,
properly.
James Dolan.
Yeah.
Probably them and the Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can hold on to the Rangers. He has
Just on MSG Network alone, we paid so much freaking money to get.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the first edition of SIN's Blitzer recap show. Patch, is this going to be released on the YouTube or podcast wise?
I mean, we can do it on both. I'm sure that's doable. We can do a release on YouTube. Make sure you follow the Sports Insanity Network on YouTube, but also make sure you search the Sports Insanity podcast and look for SIN's Blitzer show, or wherever you just called it.
And you can tune in every Sunday morning on the YouTube page for SIN Sunday Sideline Report.
Also Thursdays.
Thursday for the Thursday Night Gridiron. You can check out the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. The podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. But until next time, for Danny Boy, Reginald, Dan Rhines, and Lawrence Patch Manling, I am Mike Rifkin. Thank you for listening to SIN's Blitzer Recap Postgame Show. Have a good night, everyone, and namaste.
Say goodnight to your mama. Mama loves you. Say goodnight, Papa. Papa loves you too. Danny Boy, what is it?
Peace, love, and fried chicken.
All right. Take care, guys.